Hello, Gemini. It's Kat here from Self Unity, and for today's reading, we are creating a soul activation reading that is meant to activate your soul in relation to anything that you are working through at this time. So, for today's reading, we are using the beautiful Beyond Lemuria Oracle deck, and I'm so excited and grateful to be sharing this deck with you all, because this is a deck that I have worked with for quite a while now, and it's a deck that I just really wanted to keep to myself because the illustrations are just so beautiful and the messages that come through are just so powerful, so activating, and it's actually quite astounding to me just how the energy of this deck works. But I did feel guided starting like a couple of weeks ago to actually create these soul activation readings with this deck for all the astrology signs. So I'm really excited and grateful to be here with you today to be sharing these messages of guidance that want to come through for you today, Gemini loves. All right, loves, so let's go ahead and see what messages of guidance want to come through for you. And I also want to say happy birthday to all the Geminis out there, because I am filming this just as we have shifted into Gemini season. So it is your season. It is your time to shine. All right. So those are your cards. Let's go ahead and unveil them and see what we are working with. Ooh, we have 33, a journey to wholeness. 33, a journey to wholeness. All right, we also have 35, luminescence. Yes, this just came out in Taurus's reading. So for some of you that may feel called to, if you have other Taurus placements in your sun, moon, or rising signs, you may want to check out Taurus's reading. I'm also getting called because I'm really drawn to the heart here. If you have Venus placements or in the sign of Taurus, or you're wanting to know more about a relationship with somebody who's a Taurus, you may want to check out the reading for Taurus as well. Wow, and look at that. We have 16, love and compassion, right there with the heart energy, love energy. And then we have 12, water. Wow, look at that. The overflow. And there's another heart in the center right there. Wow, we love that. Oh, my cat is opening up doors, being a little creepy with the creaking. You may have heard that. The door was kind of creaking as my cat was opening it, so you may hear him in the background. Okay, loves. So let's go ahead and see what's coming up with your cards here. I feel like this very subtle, very soft energy right now, Gemini, where I feel like you are going through a deep soul remembrance right now. But it feels very subtle. It feels very soft. And so I feel like for some of you, I feel like you may be in a bit of a heavier emotional, maybe a little bit mental energy, where there is something that you have recently gone through that was very challenging. There's also this energy of confusion coming up too, where there's like something that you just don't have full understanding over. You don't have like a mental understanding over it, and it just feels deeply heavy emotionally. And it's like it's an energy that's really requiring you to bring this energy of loving compassion back to yourself. It's also requiring you to surrender to what it is that you're actually feeling and experiencing internally, where you may be experiencing heavier emotions. And so you may be in this softer energy of needing to release those emotions, needing to cry. You may find yourself projecting a little bit, like maybe lashing out every now and then because you're feeling this heightened energy of emotions. And I'm also feeling for some of you, because we had the message about a relationship coming in too, for some of you, this energy may not even be fully your own energy. This may be something that's a little bit indirect, where it's like somebody close to you is going through something really, really heavy, and you're of like trying to be of support to them. Okay, and with that too, Spirit's saying it's okay to be of support to them while they're on this journey, to give them the loving compassion, to give them the space, the energy of love and care and compassion that you're feeling called to give to them while they're working through this energy. but don't forget to come back to yourself and to be taking care of yourself too. Okay, especially if this is an emotionally and mentally draining experience that you are working through, whether together with another person or a multiple group of people, or on your own. Okay, because so I feel like there's like a couple different energies coming in that are creating this energy of like confusion and heaviness, where it's like somebody close to you is going through something, and then these other people that you're close to are also going through something, and then you've got your own things going on too. And so what's going on when you take a moment to just zoom out and look at all these experiences that are kind of pushing and pulling you in all these different directions in an emotional way. Okay, it's like it's really rooted in emotional energy here, where it's like almost like nurturing energy, caretaking energy, like wanting to be a mother to everybody, wanting to be a father to everybody, and just like really wanting to be there for everybody and even yourself too. But if you take a moment and zoom out, you have to realize and recognize that all these individuals are on their own path and they're going through these experiences themselves, and you have to at some point allow them to go through these experiences themselves. You do not have to carry the weight of what it is that they are experiencing on their individual journeys, because just like I said, you're also trying to be there for yourself and do your own thing and manage your own energy, that you can't constantly be extending all these magical invisible arms that you really don't have, when you're trying to come back to your center and take care of yourself as well. Okay, so these experiences and this need that you're feeling to reach out and be there for everyone, it's really trying to guide you back to yourself and back to your own center, and to return the loving compassion back to yourself, so that way you can really go within and feel into the depths of what you're truly experiencing on your own individual path, and not what you're like so you can sort of decipher between like what you're experiencing for yourself and on your own individual path versus what you may have taken on and be carrying and trying to like process for other people when it comes to an emotional energy. So you may be taking on the emotions of other people that's really not yours to take on. And so that's why Spirit's really guiding you to go within and to come back to yourself, come back to center, and ask yourself, is this my energy? Is this somebody else's energy? Why am I trying to process this for them? At the end of the day, you can't process energy for anyone else except yourself. Even healers, we can only direct other people. If you're a healer, healers can only direct other people how to bring healing to themselves, because at the end of the day, when you offer healing to somebody, you can be of support to them, you can show them the way, but you can't walk the way for them. They have to want to walk the path, they have to want to walk that way themselves, and they have to get themselves there through actually deciding to walk that path. You can't walk it for them. And so you may also be learning some deep experiences around release and letting go in order to align yourself to relationships, connections, places that are actually going to be reciprocal and supportive to you as well, okay? Because it really feels like you're trying to manage all these other relationships and people that are surrounding you and the things that they're going through, but they're not really trying to do that for you. And so you may need to really ask yourself, why are you trying to do that for them when it's not being reciprocated, okay? So come back to yourself, come back to your center, Gemini. And I'm hearing, ask yourself, what would love do in this moment? And when I say that too, okay, love doesn't mean just constantly being there and extending yourself out to everyone, especially if you're feeling a little bit defeated, a little bit on empty. You can't fill up others' cups from an empty cup. Okay, and so sometimes love also has to do more challenging things. Sometimes love looks like letting them try it on their own. Okay, it's just like, we hear the example all the time around teaching a child how to ride a bike without training wheels for the first time, okay? Of course, as the caretaker, the nurturer to that child, you want to just hold them tight while they're trying to ride that bike, find balance on their own, but you have to sometimes let them fall. And that is love in itself, because it's teaching them how to get back up, how to find that balance for themselves. And so you're kind of in that energy right now too, where it's like you're trying to help maybe just one person, maybe many different people, get themselves onto the path that they need to get onto, but they may not really be listening to you. They may not be taking your advice, and they may just like be dumping on you or constantly asking you for advice, and you're just telling them the same thing. But you know, maybe you also get fed up with telling them, so then you just try to do it for them, and then they never really learn. They never really get to try. And so you really need to take a step back and ask yourself, if in this situation, if love would remove yourself from that connection, whether it's temporarily or long term, because you really need to be coming back to yourself and taking care of yourself. Every single one of these cards has individuals on it. And even look at this card, she's like extending all her energy out, but they're extending their energy out to other people, places, and things that we cannot see. And so you're not meant to see those things, because you're not really meant to be there for all those things. You're meant to be right here in the center, in the spaces that we can see. You're meant to come within your own energy field and be processing things for yourself that you are working through in this moment. Everyone else has their own lives, and they will be fine on their own. They will get through this. They will learn how to bring love and compassion to themselves, just as you have already shown them. You've already gone as far as you can in these spaces, these connections, and these relationships with what you have already offered and provided to them. And now it's time to allow them to take the training wheels off and to try it for themselves without your assistance, without your guidance, without your help. Okay, so for some of you, this could be actually about a child that you have, where you're having to let them grow up and do some things on their own. That is a little bit painful to your mama bear or father bear heart. Okay, but just know that you have taught them well, and that they'll be okay, and that you will still be there for them to come back to, especially if this is about a child. You'll still be there. It's just that there are things that they need to learn to do on their own, and you know that deep within yourself, and you know that you'll be there for them when they really need you, okay? For others, this could be about a friendship or a romantic relationship. All right, this could be where things have been a little bit challenging in these connections, and it's time to let them figure life out on their own. I feel like maybe finances coming in a little bit, where maybe you have a friend, maybe an acquaintance, like asking to borrow money from you all the time, or asking you to buy them lunch, or like just to get them, and they'll get you back later. And you keep trying to offer them advice and guidance on how they can, increase their finances or manage their finances better so that they can actually pay you back, but it's just kind of falling on deaf ears. There's also just this energy of reciprocity, where maybe you show up in these connections and they're just constantly telling you about their life and all their problems, and you're just taking it on, but then you turn around to share about some struggles that you're going through, and they're just unable to reciprocate. They don't want to listen. They can't give you love and compassion the way that you're giving it to them. Okay. And then for some of you, this could also be about a job. I'm seeing where maybe you've been training some new hires, or some employees that you have working under you, or maybe like you work in a field where you have to train the new hires, and it's time for you to kind of cut the ties of training and let them go and do the job on their own, and just allow them to come to you when they have really specific questions and they truly can't figure it out on their own, okay? But I do feel for some of you, you need to hear that it's time to cut the cord, and say, like, you have been trained. Stop coming to me every 5 minutes asking me for help with these things that you have already been trained on, okay? Let them figure it out on their own without coming and bothering you and interrupting your duties and your daily tasks at work, okay? So that's a very specific message for somebody, where it's like, you've trained somebody, you've told them how to do things maybe many times, but they just keep coming and pestering you and double checking, triple checking, quadruple checking with you, and it just keeps eating away at your your work time and your to-do list that you have to get done when you're working. And so you really need to like have a firm conversation with them, just letting them know that you've trained them, you have confidence in them, and they need to stop coming and asking you every 5 minutes for help and clarification, and to just trust in their abilities to get the job done, because you train them and you know that they're gonna succeed, they're gonna do okay. Okay, so very specific messages coming through around that. But remember, this energy is about coming back to yourself and to your heart center and bringing yourself, returning this loving compassion back to yourself and filling up your own cup once again, and also allowing yourself to process any emotions that you're experiencing that are your own, and letting go of any emotional energy that is not of your own, returning it to the spaces that it needs to be returned to, or just detaching from it and knowing that it's not yours to process. You don't have to continue carrying it. All right, one last message coming in for you with these cards too, Gemini, is it would be really healing for you to get into nature, specifically some type of water source. Okay, we've got the water here on the luminescence card. We've also got the water card here, of course, too. And then this looks like some rainbow colored water, really cool energy. And there's even like a lotus up here too. And it looks like she's below the water and she's kind of like this aqua energy here. So getting into a natural body of water is definitely going to help bring healing to you. And help you release and process these emotions. You know, Spirit wants me to share, you know, sometimes when I'm going through some heavy energy and the emotions aren't coming out, like I know I need to just have a good cry, but I can't. Every single time, if I just draw a bath and get into the bath, like it's like magic. It just makes the tears start flowing. And so for some of you, you may, if you're unable to get into a natural source of water, like a river, the ocean, a lake, or something like that, just draw a bath and go into the bath and let yourself just be present with the water, present with yourself. And I promise you, if you have any pent up energy or emotions that need to flow through you just to be expressed, they will come through in that water. And just give it to the water, surrender it to the water, and let the water carry it. Let it cleanse your being on a physical, emotional, and mental and spiritual level. Okay, loves? All right, so let's go ahead and pull your next few cards here, Gemini. So I'm going to pull a couple cards here from the Healing Waters Oracle deck. So let's see what is coming through with the Healing Waters. And I didn't realize we were also using the water deck here for you. So definitely get into some water, Gemini. Make sure you're staying hydrated too. You're drinking plenty of water throughout the day. All right, there we go. Let's see what your cards are. Wow, we have Lady of the Lake. New beginnings. Something is about to happen. And I say wow because this came out, it just came out in Taurus's reading too. And so did, I think it was this one, the Luminescence and Lady of the Lake. But Lady of the Lake came out in the exact same placement here. Interesting. All right, we also have the Water Oracle. Psychic abilities, acting on visions, it's destined. All right, so there, I know this is a water deck, but not all the cards say the word water on it specifically. And you have water twice here, okay? So we'll talk about that in a moment. We also have Isle of Avalon, healing, returning to wholeness, and transformation. Yes. Okay, so the water coming up here, this could also be in connection to somebody who's a water sign, so Cancer, Scorpio, or Pisces. Okay, any of those signs where it's like the person that this is about, the relationship that you're connecting with, they could have water placements. Okay, they could also be an Aquarius I'm picking up on because Aquarius is the water bearer. And that doesn't usually come through when we're connecting with the energy of water, but it's coming through today. So Cancer, Scorpio, or Pisces, Aquarius, and then also Taurus is being highlighted too because we have these two cards from Taurus. But Taurus is also being highlighted because if you have Taurus placements in your sun, moon, or rising, or even your Venus sign, you may want to check out Taurus's reading too, but only if you feel called to. Okay, the other message coming through, lake. So some of you may be going to the lake soon. If you do get in the lake, let the lake heal you. Let it provide you with insight and healing around what it is that you're working through in relation to the messages that we talked about today. Okay, so some of you, okay, so Gemini, I know I know this is hard, okay, because this energy, it feels like it is a big disconnect from a relationship that is near and dear to your heart, okay? But you are feeling intuitively guided to disconnect from a very specific relationship or maybe many different relationships in your life at this time. So for some of you, this could be about a job where you're like ready to leave behind this job. And it's just really challenging because you're also connected to the different relationships in that work environment. But it feels like these work relationships that you're connected to, even though you care about them deeply, they do not reciprocate the level of energy that you give to them. Okay. And the same thing for like friendships, romantic partnerships, and maybe even family members a little bit too coming in, where there are just a couple different relationships in your life where you have allowed these individuals to cross your boundaries one too many times. And you are coming into this awareness that you have allowed that to happen. You also are coming into this awareness that when you're in these connections, you're spending too much time in other people's energy and their life stories and their hopes and dreams than you are spending in yours. And so you are getting these downloads, these intuitive insights that it is time to make a big change in your life. And it's going to be hard. It's going to be emotionally hard because I see that there's like multiple levels of it. There's more than just one. It's like it's really this journey back to wholeness, this journey back to yourself, where you are coming into this deep awareness that the person you've been allowing yourself to be presented as is not true to who you are in your heart center, in your core center. You've really just been allowing yourself to kind of be like almost like an emotional punching bag is what I'm getting, where it's like you just show up in these connections and these interactions, these social events, or these work social events where you're just showing up, getting the job done. But like getting the job done to you is like just showing up and letting people just tell you their life story, and then you not feeling comfortable or safe enough to share with them your own life story. And so you're trying to reclaim that power for yourself and find a sense of safety, find a sense of honesty, return this love and compassion back to yourself, find your luminescence once again, and start filling up your own cup once again. But it is going to require you to really remove yourself from some of these relationships that just are not going to understand when you start pulling your energy back into yourself, because you've constantly been allowing them to, like I said, kind of treat you as like an emotional punching bag, where it's like they just call you up or call you over to their desk just to tell you like all this gossip or drama or pain that they're experiencing. We have 222 on the clock right now that is not yours to deal with. It's not yours to fix. And they just call you over because you're so used to just kind of like rolling your chair over next to them or picking up the phone and just listening to them go off and off and off and off. And then it's like, 10, 20 minutes go by. And if you're lucky, do they even ask you, well, what's going on with your life? How are you feeling? And if they do ask you that, do you reciprocate and allow them to know? Do you feel safe to know? Because it took them so long to even ask you. And so you're really like going through this mental and emotional processing around your connections, relationships, and your environments, where you've been putting yourself in spaces that are not giving to you in the ways that you're giving to them. And so again, Gemini, it's going to be emotionally challenging because it's just like this energy that you have taken on, maybe because of those heavy energies that we talked about, where there's some things that you're going through on your own. There's some things that people very close to you are going through that you're trying to be support to them in an indirect way. And you may be going through it too in some ways, but it's like really indirect to you. And so you're just really trying to be there for the other person that's going through it, or the other people that are going through it. But again, it's like it's not yours to fully deal with and emotionally process. You have your own things that you need to deal with and process for yourself. And so these experiences, again, they're bringing you back to yourself. But I think first, like I keep going in this loop a little bit because Spirit's trying to to just give you that information and let you know, like, zoom out and look at what's really going on when you show up in each of these different relationships and social interactions, even at your workplace, in your social personal life interactions, your romantic interactions, and even in like your family unit as well. And just kind of zoom out and look at how you're showing up in these relationships. Okay, it's not about the other people, it's about how you're showing up in these relationships and what you're allowing to happen to yourself, to your own energy, and connection to these relationships. Okay, and so it's going to be very important that as you go through this journey and come into this awareness, that you take time to sit in solitude and to really reflect on how you're showing up in these relationships. Okay, so you are going to falter. Okay, it's okay. You're going to falter. You're going to want to go back into these connections every now and then, because they are still individuals that you deeply care about and that you love and that you want to be of support to. But it's how you're doing it that's going to be shifting, that's going to be transforming. And it's how you're doing it that really needs your attention and needs you to bring transformation to it. And it may be challenging because, like I said, these people who kind of treat you like that emotional punching bag that we talked about, when you start making changes and implementing boundaries with them, they may kind of bite back a little. They may not fully understand. And so you may have to reassert those boundaries and those explanations to them. And if they really can't understand or accept them, that's where we may have to create some kind of disconnect. Okay, but this is a whole process. This is a whole journey that you're working through. But it's happening to bring you back to yourself, back into your center, back into your power, back into the truth and depths of your own true heart being, and return to love within yourself. Okay, so very beautiful messages coming through for you, Gemini. I know it's going to be a bit of a challenging road to navigate. There's going to be a bit of like a back and forth here with these connections, because they are like, you need that socialization, you need those connections. It's just that there are some that you're going to be fully disconnecting from, detaching from, some where you're setting boundaries up for the first time, and then some where you're going to be transforming, transmuting, and maybe inviting in new connections that are reciprocal, that are supportive. And when we do that, when we invite in new relationships that are reciprocal and supportive, when we have been in relationships that are not reciprocal and supportive in the ways that we need, it can feel a little funny at first. Okay, so just be mindful of that. It can feel a little strange. It can feel a little scary, because it's going to require you to also be vulnerable. Like I said, some of you are not even allowing yourself to be able to have this relationship be reciprocal, because you're just not sharing with them, because it takes them 10-20 minutes to even ask you, how are you doing, what's going on in your life. Okay, so just be mindful of that too. If you try to align with new relationships, new connections that are supportive and reciprocal, you're going to have to give a little to make it work as well. You're going to have to bring that love into yourself, into the connection as a whole too. Okay, let's go ahead and pull your tarot cards now. So I'm pulling 2 tarot cards from the Tarot of the Divine. So let's see what your messages are from the Tarot of the Divine. I'm just going to shuffle a couple times, and then we'll get your messages. All right, let's go. Oh, let's go one more shuffle. All right, so let's see. What are your 2 tarot? Oh, there's 2 right there. Okay, we'll take those. Okay, so we have King of Swords. King of Swords. Yes, this is very much about being strong-minded, being in your mental body. And we have the Sun. Okay, yeah. So you're going to bring healing. You're going to bring that comfort, that understanding back into your own mind, body, spirit, and soul. Okay, you're going to get through this, Gemini. You're going to get through this. This is like the Phoenix rising here. This is a Griffin. But it did remind me of the Phoenix. But also the Griffin is about protection. And so this is also about protecting yourself, protecting your own energy. And so just know that you already know where there are connections that you can open up to and be open with about your life, and there are some connections that you just don't feel comfortable opening up about your life to, and so those are going to be the ones that you definitely want to disconnect from more, set clear boundaries with, have those firm conversations with, or just completely disconnect. It's up to you what to do. And you have a strong vision. Okay, we have acting on visions here, new visions coming in with that new beginnings there. And so it's time for you to start taking those action steps and pursuing it so that the sun can return to your life, the sun can come back in, and things can feel more fluid, more harmonious, more flowing into your cup and not just into others. Okay, loves? All right, let's see if anything else comes through here. I'm getting like the Egyptian symbology here. We've got the Ankh symbol there. So that could be significant to somebody. We also have the sword here. Swords could be significant to somebody, which also was highlighted here in Taurus's reading too. So Taurus is being highlighted again. All right. Okay, let's go ahead and pull your last card now, Gemini. So I'm going to pull one last card from this deck here. This is the self-awareness cards. And these cards all have like questions on them that you can choose to just reflect on within yourself, your mind, or you can journal out your answers to these questions, which I highly, highly recommend. And as you're journaling out your answers to these questions or just reflecting on them, it's meant to help you work through and integrate the messages that we talked about in your reading today. Okay, so let's see what your journal prompt is. Wow, look at that. Are you afraid to be seen, Gemini? Are you afraid to be seen? Are you afraid to be seen? Oh, excuse me. The world doesn't want you to hold back any longer. Time to shine your unique light on the world. You were made from love, and from love you are whole. You are made from love, and from love you are whole. There is no more hiding. There is no more shame. There is only truth. Live naked and free. All right, Gemini, some of you need to allow yourself to be reciprocal in these relationships. Part of the disconnect from these connections and feeling like your cup is empty is because you're not giving these other individuals a chance to reciprocate to you, just like I talked about. Okay, and there's connections where you don't feel safe to do that. Those are not the connections that this is talking about. However, if you come back into yourself, come back into your power, you will be able to allow yourself to be seen no matter what in any connection. And no matter how anybody responds to your truth, if you are rooted in the energy of love and rooted in the energy of your own divine truth, and you feel confident and brave enough to speak that truth out loud, it doesn't matter how other people receive you, because you will be so deeply rooted in your own truth and knowing that you are coming from a space of loving compassion and that you can give that compassion back to yourself. You don't need it from other individuals, okay? But there are individuals that are around you that want to help you just as much as you're trying to help them. So don't be afraid to open up to them and allow them to see the parts of you that you're trying to hide from them and from yourself. Okay, so your soul action today. What parts of you do you hide so that you can be socially accepted and fit in? Are you being authentic, or do you allow yourself to be all of you? What do you need to feel so you can be safe to be seen? What do you need to feel so you can be safe to be seen? Journal out your answers. So this says journal your answers. So I highly, highly recommend you grab a pen and paper right now, take a screenshot of these questions, and go journal out your answers to those questions and allow yourself, again, it's saying, what do you need to feel? Allow yourself to express and feel out those heavier emotions, those emotions that you're blocking. Allow them to be expressed, allow them to come through and to guide you to the spaces, to the connections that you are meant to be guided to, that you're meant to connect with. We have 233 on the clock now. That is the number of support. All right, to be supported. Okay, what do you need to say? What do you need to speak? What do you need to feel? What do you need to share to receive the support that you deserve and desire? All right, Gemini loves, that is it for your reading today. I'm sending you so much love. If you enjoyed this reading, please give this video a thumbs up. And again, just know that I'm sending you so much love as you work through this energy. Okay, loves? All right, until next time. Bye, loves.